Hey everyone, it's Lulasai. I just finished watching Donnie Darko. This is a 2001 movie written and directed by Richard Kelly. And it's been recommended to me several times over the years by many different people. The most recent person to recommend it to me was a Discord friend of mine named Sun. So shout out Sun if you're watching this. And yeah, I was just putting this one off for so long. I wasn't sure about it, right? Like I took a look at the cover and I'm like, is this like some Five Nights at Freddy's? Although FNAF did not exist yet at this point, but is this some sort of mascot horror, maybe cheesy thing? Not really. It is completely not what I expected at all, and that's a good thing. So this is more like Final Destination if it made absolutely no sense at all. And Final Destination is already a series which is technically unexplained to the very end, I think. So yeah, and that might off-put you, right? It would off-put me too. I've seen over 1,000 movies in my life, and this is the only one where I was absolutely required to Google what was going on. I normally do not do this. It's one of my core principles actually when it comes to reviewing movies, because I consider that cheating. I think a movie should be more about your authentic first reaction, and I still believe that, but I had to whip out an exception for this one because it simply refuses to tell you what is going on, and it is required to Google it if you actually want to know what's going on. So yeah, and I know there's going to be people out there who are going to be like, well, actually, my brain was big enough to understand everything on the first time, blind. They're lying to you. There's absolutely no way. I truly believe it is absolutely 100% impossible to fully understand Donnie Darko during your first blind watch. And I will stand by that statement, especially because this movie does not rely on source material. It is purely an invention of itself. So there's no reason for you to actually comprehend anything, and you will be forced to do some external research if you would like to know the truth. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of a problem for me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it's very fair or nice to force a viewer to look up on Google what's happening. But it kind of adds the mystique and the weird sort of lightning in a bottle energy atmosphere that surrounds this movie anyways. So, for me it is a problem, I'm not gonna lie, but that's like the only problem. Otherwise, I think the movie is completely flawless and extremely intriguing. Amazing performance from Jake Gyllenhaal, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So let me tell you about the plot. And do I want to talk spoilers in this? I think so. So I just wrote a review on Letterboxd that had no spoilers whatsoever, and you can find that link on my channel or you can just look at my link tree, which is also pretty easy to find. I'm trying to think of where's a really good place to find those links. Maybe I should put them in the video description. But if you just click my channel itself and you look at the banner, there's a bunch of links up there. One of them is Letterboxd. So if you want to see a non-spoiler review, you can go read what I wrote there. I actually went on kind of a bit of a personal tangent, which I don't normally do in the written reviews. I do it all the time in the video reviews, but I don't normally do in the written reviews because there's so little space. But there's a reason for why I did that. But yeah, I think we will talk spoilers here. So my recommendation for you, because I'm about to spoil the movie, I think the movie is a 9 out of 10. I think it's extremely important that you watch it blind and experience it for the first time. So if you've never seen it, I think you need to go see it right now. I've seen over 1,000 movies in my life. This is the only one that I could not understand fully at all. I'm sure there's other movies that I haven't understood fully, but you know what I mean. This was the most convoluted and confusing movie I've ever watched in my entire life, over 1,000 movies plus of experience. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of bothers me, but it's also a charm. It's something very unique to this, so. And yeah, I'm going to tell you what's the truth behind it, and this film will not tell you that. So you will not learn what's actually going on until you listen to me or look it up online. And that's just the way it is. You just got to accept it. Okay, so if you're still watching, then you've already seen this movie. Congratulations, you've watched one of the best movies ever. So let's call this the fake plot. So the fake plot is what the first time viewer blind experience is going to be. So we follow a troubled youth named Donnie Darko who survives a near-death experience, and he begins to exhibit symptoms of paranoid schizophrenia. And this manifests mostly through a hallucinogenic imaginary friend who's more like a person who's tormenting him, or not a person, but you know. Well, again, we're going to talk spoilers anyway, so yes, it is a person, but there is a giant bunny rabbit that is forcing, or at least strongly encouraging, our main character to go and do various juvenile delinquent acts, and they progressively get worse and escalate and escalate. Also, Donnie meets a girl named Gretchen who he likes, but the real priority for him, because I think Gretchen kind of represents that normal life that he wants to achieve, but he can't really get there until he gets rid of this bunny that is tormenting him. So, yeah, okay, now the real plot, okay? So, again, if you think you're some big brain nerd that was able to fully understand all of this on your very first blind watch, you're a filthy liar, and I will stand by that. I do not believe you if you actually believe that. In fact, I'm impressed that anyone really managed to piece this together after the fact. Like, this movie has a bit of a cult following. Did they just collaborate with each other to uncover the true mystery of what's going on? Maybe it's not as convoluted as I'm making it out to be, but it is still one of the charms of the movie. Okay, so the real plot, which is you will only learn from Google. Basically, Donnie Darko this is huge spoilers, going to ruin it for you, by the way, and this is going to change how you watch it on the second time as well. So this is your last chance to duck out if you still haven't seen this movie. Okay, you've been warned. The real plot required by Google is Donnie Darko has been chosen by a higher power to be the receiver, and his objective is to guide the object that almost killed him in his bedroom to this portal to travel back through time so that it can hit himself, so that it can reset the primary universe permanently, because there's an alternate universe that keeps appearing, and it's like a purgatory, it's a loop where Donnie repeatedly saves himself, and he's now stuck in this purgatory. But the problem with that is by saving himself, the loop continues, and all of the people that he cares about, well, I guess really just one person. He's a little bit of a selfish guy, we'll talk about that more later, but, you know, Gretchen and Frank, who we'll learn more about, and he does become a little bit more integral than I first imagined. Like, he's more involved, I guess, closer to him than I first thought. So, yeah, we're just doing full spoilers. So, basically, Gretchen can only live if Donnie dies. And Donnie is able to big brain figure this out somehow through the help of this creepy old woman who stands in the middle of the street who wrote a book on time travel once. Yep. And I'm sure I probably got some things wrong in there, but that's the gist of it, of the Google version of what this film is about. So, yeah, none of that is conveyed to you whatsoever. That is purely just outside fans figuring it out, just for the record. None of that is in the movie at all. The actual movie itself is the actual movie itself is more about the themes. That's what it's about. It's about the themes. It's about watching a struggling teenager who is tormented, and he's trying to achieve a regular life, but his demons, his mental illness. I mean, he probably doesn't actually have a mental illness in reality. That's the true lore of the movie. But before you know that, before you Google that, you're thinking he has some sort of mental impairment. And so he is, you're just trying to, you know, you relate to him. At first, he's an absolute dickhead, completely unlikable, but the more you get to know him, you start to understand why he's treating people so poorly, why he's making these bad decisions. Everything, like, he's really just a consequence of his own circumstances, and that's inherently relatable to a lot of people. And, yeah, so the real point of the movie, ignoring Google and the universe, blah, 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 time travel, really, for me, the point of the movie is the coming of age, but with a particularly troubled character, and I really respect that about a movie. When a self-titled movie like this can portray such a troubled and unorthodox character who is honestly extremely arrogant and unlikable, particularly towards the beginning, and portray him so well, and the performance from Jake Gyllenhaal is just absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, it's just a unique experience. There's nothing like it. I know I keep saying this, I've watched over 1,000 movies. I've never seen anything like this. The closest thing is Final Destination, which feels like a joke compared to this. Final Destination feels like campy humor, have a beer with your friends, and this is more like making you question your purpose in life a little bit. Now, here's the personal tangent part I want to go off on. So what I wrote in my review is, I wrote the exact words were something like, Unfortunately, Donnie Darko is an extremely unlikable character. And I say unfortunately because I see myself in him, especially when I was growing up. And I truly feel that way. Donnie Darko, he is so annoying, unlikable, and arrogant towards the beginning of this movie in particular. And he doesn't even necessarily go through he does go through an arc when you look on Google, especially because he's doing a self-sacrificing act to save the universe, essentially. But that's Google stuff. So without the Google stuff, he doesn't necessarily go through some huge wake-up moment where he becomes a really nice guy for no reason. That's not realistic anyway. It's not how it would happen in real life. He's just a flawed character who's really troubled, and it's a pretty accurate way to describe me as well. Or at least how I was. I feel like watching this movie made me appreciate how much I've grown over the years, and that I don't treat people like this anymore. Or at least I really try not to. I try my best not to. So, yeah. I don't have schizophrenia, but I low-key kind of feel schizophrenic sometimes just with the way things around me in the world are happening. I just told my best friend yesterday or the day before I was planning on watching this movie for a while now. It's been on my backlog for a while, but my point is, before I knew anything about this movie, I told my friend that I live in the world as I want it to be, not as the world it actually is. Because he's always like confused why I'm doing or saying certain things that make it go against the grain or something. And I just tell him that like I don't agree with how like life operates sometimes, and that's truly how I feel. I'm not like memeing or joking with you right now. I don't agree with how life and society operates sometimes. Not everything. Life is mostly good, but there are some things about it that I don't like. I don't like how fake that everyone, myself included, can be sometimes, where we're trying to put on a show for people, trying to have the perfect image all the time. I don't like indoctrination and like almost like cult kind of hive mind behavior where people groupthink with each other. I'm really against all that kind of stuff. So this movie is the same thing with this character. He rubs everyone the wrong way. He's, arrogant and unlikable towards the start. I mean, he's kind of throughout, but you start to understand him way better as the movie progresses. So you start to get bothered by him less. But yeah, it's just like me. It's like I may say something that rubs someone the wrong way, but it's the truth, or at least it's what I believe. So like that one scene of him, calling out the teacher for her weird sort of chart exercise where it's either fear or love based on some scenarios, and he's explaining that there's way more emotions than fear and love. It's not just black or white, and she just doesn't get it. And this is how a lot of people are in real life. They just don't get it. And people like Donnie Darko and myself, and maybe you, if you're watching this, we're kind of the ones that sometimes see the world for the way it actually is, which is a very, again, even me saying that is going to rub some people the wrong way, because this is just how people are. Everyone's very different. Nobody likes anyone to be like super unique, I feel. Or maybe I'm just going off on a tangent for no reason, and you don't agree with any of this. That's completely fine. You can believe whatever you want. I'm not trying to make you believe anything. I'm just telling you the way this movie made me feel, what I took away from it. But yeah, now let's go on to some more relevant stuff for the movie. I've really talked about it all already, but it's just, yeah, amazing performance. Great music choices. The Frank character did not destroy the movie or make it funny. It was like pure, grounded, serious, and just sad, psychological, but not sad in a bad way. Sad in a like, wow, I hope he survives this kind of way. So yeah, just strange sort of energy with this movie, one of a kind, highly recommend it. And really, again, my only complaint is, actually I kind of have 1.5 complaints. I have 1 and 2 half complaints. My one complaint is, this is the only movie I've seen where you are forced to look it up online if you want to know what's going on, which is cheating in my opinion. Not only is it cheating for me when doing this review, because now I have information that I'm not supposed to have, but I've been transparent about it, so I hope you understand. But it's also cheating from a filmmaking and script writing review point of view, because you're not giving the truth to anyone. You're not letting us have the truth. You're forcing us to do external research. Maybe that's the point. Maybe this is like a John Carpenter The Thing situation where, the movie ends and it's completely left open to interpretation. It's for fans to discuss for years to come. Maybe that's what keeps the film alive. Maybe that's why it has such a cult following. I don't know. For me personally, I'm not a fan of movies that do stuff like that. I do understand. I could kind of give a pass this one, but I just can't. I'm still not going to. I just don't like it. I'm not a fan of stuff like that, where movies cheat and withhold vital information from you. And so the 2 half negatives, which don't really matter, but just I'll mention them. There's occasionally some weird dialogue in this. I don't mind the stuff like the very young child saying a swear word just for a joke. That's funny. I don't mind that. But there's some weird stuff like Seth Rogen says "nice boobs" to this girl, just completely left fielded out of nowhere. Seth Rogen's just weird in this movie in general, but yeah, there's some weird dialogue here and there. I mean, there's a scene where I guess this isn't dialogue necessarily, but there's just weird stuff in this that I don't really think needed to make the final cut. Maybe you could put in a director's cut or something, I don't know. But there's a scene where Donnie's with a therapist and he starts to unzip his pants in kind of a serious moment where she's trying to do like a breakthrough with him. I did not like this therapist, for the record. I thought she was kind of fake, but yeah, just kind of strange scenes. But I guess again, that's the whole point. But yeah, and the other thing was, this doesn't matter at all, but I thought it was weird how there was some really famous people in like non-existent roles. So Seth Rogen is here, he barely does anything, and when he does do anything, it's just being weird. And you also have the guy from iCarly, who shows up for one single scene, and Ashley Tisdale also shows up for one single scene. The guy that plays Spencer, I forget his name right now, but I want to... Why are they here? Why are they not, like, in the movie, actually? They're just, like, I don't know, it just threw me off. I just wish, it could have been so fun to see Spencer from iCarly playing more of a part in this movie. I don't know what he would do. Maybe he could have been one of the, you know, best friends of Donnie in this and replaced one of those other two guys, because they weren't particularly remarkable, those two. Which reminds me, actually, before I forget, I should mention the Smurf scene. Holy, the Smurf scene is so good. I think that might be the best scene of the movie, even though it is technically the least serious scene of the movie, and I just said that I liked that it was grounded. So yes, I'm contradicting myself, but I have to admit, this scene was built different. It was totally genius, and it really just shows you what kind of character we have here. He is, yeah, just, you gotta see it for yourself. There's a whole tangent about the Smurfs plot, basically. Donnie Darko gets a 9 out of 10 because it's a bit of a cheater, but it's still a fantastic movie with a very special, weird aura that is just very enchanting. Maybe not enchanting is the right word. Very mesmerizing. Yes, that's a better word. I was very into it. I was glued to the screen, very invested in what was going on, and really impressed. So, love Donnie Darko. I can understand if you want to give it a 10, but also really ask yourself, is this movie a 10? Like, deep down, is it a 10? I mean, come on. It's literally about... The movie's about something that does not actually pertain within itself at all. At all. It's about a primary and an alternate universe. And none of that has any bearing on anything that's happening. So I don't know. I just disagree with that. I don't like that, but it's fun. Still a really good movie. Thank you for watching this review. I'll see you next time.